Oh, what do you want to do? Oh, what do I want to do? I guess we could look at the newest comment on the comments tree. Okay, yeah, that's cool. All right. So I made the video yesterday. It was called, "Will my asymmetrical receding hairline even out?" And I was answering someone's question. I don't have an asymmetrical hairline. But Game Changer, and Game Changer's left comments before. I like that name. That's a cool name, Game Changer. Here's what Game Changer says. Quote, "Hey Nick, can you explain widow's peak? I'm 17 years old, but I've always had a widow's peak ever since I can remember. But now my sides are forming a V, so I don't know what to think anymore, honestly. But I do see lots of small hairs on my hairline." End quote. So, what a relevant comment for my channel. So thank you for asking those things, Game Changer. So let's get started on this question. The first thing is, can I explain a widow's peak? Now here's my version of explaining a widow's peak. A widow's peak, in my mind, means you've got a hairline that is more of a V. Especially right here, it's going to come down more on your face more than anything. So it's not that your hair goes back this way to the V as much as it is your hairline almost is on your face with a V right here is what that would indicate. So it's not so much receding as much as it is, say your hairline's up here across, it kind of dips down. And it would also, for me, mean that you've always had that, is what that would mean. Because didn't you say that? Yeah, you said you've always had one. That's a widow's peak when you've always had it. Compare that to me. I never had a widow's peak. When my hairline started maturing and eventually receding and all that, that was my, but for me, like when I was 17, and well, actually it was like 1998, 1999. When I was 17, my hairline was like this, exactly straight across. And it always was from, you know, the time I was a kid, I just always had straight across. I never had a widow's peak. So for me, a widow's peak means that your hairline naturally kind of comes down on your face here a little bit, on the flat part of your face. You've got hair growing there, as compared to like me now, where the beginning of my hairline starts already towards the top of my hair. Okay, so that's the first part of your question. The second thing you had asked me, you were talking about, you see, my sides are starting to form a V, so I don't know what to think anymore. Okay, based on what you're telling me, it sounds like your hairline is maturing, going maybe past the Norwood 1 a little bit, which is completely normal. That started happening for me sometime between 18 and 19. So, I mean, it's all there about the same. The V, of course, I'm an M because I'm a Norwood 3. So that looks like a V, but it's only because I have so much hair. So now you can see, if I were to pull up on both sides, that would be a letter M if you had that on both sides. The V would be more like that, but also there's not really corners anymore. It's almost more circular. If you're wondering what that was, UPS. So yeah, so mine's more circular. If you've got a V, you're gonna have some 90-degree angles in there. So first the letter V, then the letter M. So it sounds like, yeah, you are venturing into the territory of beginning stages of, you know, possible hair loss, but a lot of guys of European descent are going to be in that same situation. So if you've got, and that's another theme of what I'm talking about a lot here too, is talking about how ethnicity has a major role in that too. We can call it, oh, it's just her genes, it's just her DNA. Well, your ethnicity, I feel, definitely has a lot to do with that. The European gene is notorious for losing hair earlier, but also being able to grow facial hair, kind of that trade-off. If you're any other ethnicity, that could help slow things down. In theory, we'll talk about that more in other videos. But really what I want to finish up here, as you're talking about the small hairs on your forehead, people largely disagree with me on this, that when you first start the process of a receding hairline, there's going to be like this outer rim of smaller hairs that start popping up. Because even now I see it, because I feel like I'm going through another spurt of like more recession and hair loss, and I see these smaller hairs on the outer rim of what's going on. So if you're asking me, I'm going to say that is the hair starting to weaken, is what I have in my personal life I've experienced. So yeah, I mean, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here for you, Game Changer, because I like you. But I also want to be honest with everyone, and I'm not here to make people feel good necessarily. I'm here to be honest. It does sound like, you know, you're starting to experience the first signs of what's to come, and you'll get a better idea in these next couple of years, as far as, because that's ultimately fundamentally what you're asking me today. You're wanting to know, am I losing my hair, or is it just my hairline? It does sound more like you're beginning the stages, like setting up the stage for this maturing hairline, which could eventually lead into receding hairline, which could eventually lead into balding. But we're not really going to know. The only thing I can really tell you now, and the most important thing I can tell you, is to look at a picture of yourself from when you were 1 year old. 1 year old photo. Take a look at that. How did your hairline look then? That's a good projection of what you'll look like as an adult around the age 35. That's my theory. No one else on the internet will probably agree with me, but that's the theory that I came up with. So I think that's the best information I can give you. Is it sounds like you're starting to have a V form, which would turn in eventually to an M. You don't know when that is. It may not be until you're 50. You know, none of us really know that. But again, looking at the 1 year old photo is a good indication of what's going to look like there. So I hope that answers your questions. And if it doesn't, I'll make more videos and clarify that up, because this is a rolling conversation. This is a collaboration that doesn't finish. It never ends. And that's what I do. So thank you so much for asking. Hopefully that helps other people answer some of their questions as well.